Xin chào mừng quý vị và các bạn quay trở lại với phần 2 của chương trình Tôi và Việt Nam trên kênh truyền hình FBNC, phỏng vấn bà McKinney là tổng giám đốc của công ty Crila Health. Chúng ta sẽ tiếp tục cuộc trò chuyện với vị khách mời này nhé. So now let's talk about the company that you direct. Now it's Crila.
It's so exciting. Let's talk about it.
And also the revolutionary herbal supplements that you are manufacturing and introducing to the market. So first of all, can you tell us more about Crila?
So the word Crila comes from Crinum latifolium, a very specific plant in the member of the Amaryllidaceae family of lilies. And Crila was invented by the top Vietnamese scientist, Dr. Nguyen Thi Nhat Cham. When she came upon it and realized the potential to develop this, she set aside a lot of other things and spent 25 years to develop modern Crila. It comes from Vietnam's very long tradition of medicinal plants and herbs. We trace this back to the 14th century with Thuy Tin, who was the father and founder of Vietnamese medicinal herbs, but you won't find Crinum latifolium among those traditional formulas because it was so rare in the wild that there are several different varieties. And they all look alike unless you're an ethnobotanist. But some are useless, some are toxic, and then there's one that has some medicinal effect. That one was so rare that the kings of Vietnam made it secret. It was not allowed to be chronicled in the monographs of traditional herbs.
I see.
And it was reserved for the exclusive use of the royal family. So the nickname was the king's herb, or the royal women's herb, and the secret didn't begin to leak out until 1954 when the last king left Vietnam. And Dr. Cham, then in the mid-80s, the Vietnamese government offered a competition for a grant for doctoral study outside of Vietnam, and she won. So she was able to get her PhD in chemistry in Europe at the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. And while there, her dream was to come back to Vietnam at some point and take 100 of the most promising herbs and subject them to modern evidence-based research. While in Bulgaria, the Bulgarians realized that she's a genius, and they wanted to keep her for a while longer, so they enticed her.
I see.
They said, fine, go back to Vietnam and collect your herbs, but bring them back here and we'll give you a modern laboratory to conduct your research. So she returned to Vietnam and was traveling north to south to collect a lot of herbs and was traveling through Hue, the old imperial capital, where she came upon the story of the king's herb. And as she looked into it, she realized that this had enormous potential, and she abandoned the plan at that point for the other 99 herbs, and she spent 25 years on this one. So she established an organic plantation in 1990, and in collaboration with both the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences and the Innsbruck Medical University and other colleagues in Italy, from 1990 they started preclinical research on Crila. So the Ministry of Health licensed Crila for sale in the local market in 2005.
Indeed, there has been tremendous growth in the wellness sector, and we now have a large number of products that we can choose from. So how is your company positioned in this very competitive environment?
Well, the company has fantastic advantages because of the foresight, again, of Dr. Cham, realizing that she wanted to control the production, what we call farm to factory to finished product. Because there are other varieties of crinum that could be confusing unless you're an expert, she realized that she could not buy crinum from outside farmers because it could be the wrong one. So this is an unbroken chain between the farm to the factory to the consumer. It's an enviable position in the natural products sector now to have a company in that situation. So that puts us well above any potential competition. Plus, over the years of working with this plant, Dr. Cham became convinced that through natural means of propagation, she'd actually enhanced the crucial ingredients in the plant. And when I met her in 2007, that was one of her questions to me is, can you test this plant in the US? DNA is now a common word, we all know about it, but scientifically in the public realm it wasn't so common a few years ago. So they didn't have the sophisticated testing in Vietnam at that time to do that testing. But through the help of the American Botanical Council, a nonprofit educational institution in the US, I was able to locate a factory, a laboratory that did that testing for us. And indeed it revealed that Dr. Cham's Crila comes from a unique plant that has things in it that other crinums.
We can all be pleased to learn that this is the first time ever the herbal supplements produced in Vietnam and are being exported to the US and also other developed countries. So does the fact that the product is manufactured in Vietnam pose any marketing or image issues when targeting consumers, let's say in the US?
Well, yes, quite frankly, it does, because the US has had some negative experiences with other products manufactured coming from Asia that did not maintain the highest standards.
I see.
So again, Crila has the advantage that Dr. Cham is a scientist first. I'm a lawyer. I can talk a lot. For her, it's right or it's wrong, and there's no in between. So with our support, she built a modern factory that is registered, now registered with the FDA in the US, and that meets what we call GMP-WHO, the GMP quality standards established by the World Health Organization.
So now I understand that there are the complex processes behind manufacturing and also trading these types of herbal supplements in the market. So regarding manufacturing, as you mentioned earlier, your business operations stem from farm to factory to finished products. Can you please expand on that?
Well, the farm is very strictly controlled. Each plot of land has a number, so we can trace back that capsule to this batch of product to this part of the plantation if we need to. So the FDA in the United States now, we trade under the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act from the 1930s that's been supplemented with additional legislation, DSHEA, we say the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act in 1994. So there are very many regulations subject to both Dr. Cham's company and my company. As the distributor, the FDA holds me to the same standard as the manufacturer. So she will test the batch in Vietnam twice, ship it to the US, I will test it again to be able to prove to the FDA that what I ordered is what she shipped. And we have passed every FDA inspection of the product.
I
so
see.
We're very pleased about that.
I see. And regarding trading, what is your experience on methods such as obtaining product licenses in overseas markets and also customs processes?
It goes one by one by one by one. So actually the FDA in the US, if your product can fit into certain categories, is doable. It's possible. In the EU, they have not harmonized the regulations yet, so you have to go country by country by country. Germany is different than France, is different than the other. And probably the strictest of all is Australia. The Therapeutic Goods Administration is very strict about the testing of their products.
I see. Thank you very much. We'll get back in a few minutes and pick up on this very interesting topic. Thank you. Thưa quý vị và các bạn, vừa rồi là phần 2 của chương trình Tôi và Việt Nam trên kênh truyền hình FBNC, phỏng vấn bà Sue McKinney là tổng giám đốc của công ty Crila Health. Chúng tôi xin phép được quay trở lại trong vòng ít phút nữa.